Have you ever wondered what the real difference is between the leaders who stop and the ones who just keep pushing forward no matter what? It's not talent, it's not strength, it's not even motivation. It's one single trait that changes the whole game. Today, we're diving deep into that trait, grit.
Okay, so let's get right into it. But I don't want to start with some dry textbook definition. Instead, I want to kick things off with a story. A story about a real-world test that pushes people to their absolute breaking point. Because it's in those moments that you see what grit really is.
The challenge is called the Great Himalayan Ultra. And get this, it's a 600-kilometer cycling race. Just let that sink in. It cuts through some of the most brutal, unforgiving terrain on the entire planet. This is way more than just a race. It's a crucible. Just try to put yourself there for a second. The air is so thin you can't catch your breath. Your lungs are on fire. Your own mind starts playing tricks on you. And you realize, pretty quickly, this isn't about how strong your legs are anymore. No, it's a battle against that voice in your head. That part of you where literally every single cell is just screaming, stop.
I mean, look at how brutal these conditions are. We're talking 35 hours straight, no sleep. You're over 15,000 feet up, fighting these freezing winds on a route that just seems to go on forever. It's this exact kind of environment, just packed with friction and doubt and pure exhaustion. That's where real leaders are made. So you're right in the middle of all that chaos, right? Your fingers are numb, your vision's getting blurry, and that's when the question hits you. It always does. It's the same question every single leader faces when they're pushed right to the edge. Why? Why am I putting myself through this?
And the answer that bubbles up from deep inside, well, it's not really about the race at all. It's about everything. It's this incredible moment of clarity where you realize, if I quit here, I'm just training myself to quit everywhere else when things get hard. That refusal right there, that is the heart and soul of grit.
Okay, so that's the story, right? That's the feeling of it. Now let's pull back and really try to nail down what we're talking about. What is grit really when you strip it all down to its core? Well, the most famous definition comes from a psychologist named Angela Duckworth, and she defines grit as this unique combo of passion and perseverance, all aimed at very long-term goals. So this isn't about being intense for a week. Nope. It's about having the endurance to stick with something for the long, long haul.
But look, that academic definition, it only tells half the story. The real lessons, the ones you learn out there in the mountains, they go so much deeper. Grit is what you build when nobody else is watching. It's when you choose your purpose over your own comfort. It's about staying calm when everything is going crazy. It's just that slow, steady, stubborn progress. And when it all boils down to it, it's not about physical stamina. It is emotional endurance.
So if grit is really this emotional game, it brings up a really fascinating question, doesn't it? Why is it that grit, this mix of passion and just plain stick-to-itiveness, is so often a better predictor of success than just raw natural talent? I know, it's a bold statement, but the proof is everywhere. We've all seen it, right? That super talented person who just folds the second things get difficult. And then you see someone else, maybe someone more ordinary, who achieves these incredible things just because they would not quit.
Angela Duckworth actually breaks this down with a simple but really powerful formula. Check this out. Step 1, you take your natural talent and you multiply it by effort. And boom, you develop a skill. But, and this is the key, that's not the end of the story. Step 2, you take that skill you just built and you have to multiply it by effort again. And that's what gets you to real achievement. See the common factor there? Yup, it's effort. It shows up twice. It's the magic multiplier in the whole equation. First, it turns talent into skill. Then it turns that skill into tangible results. This simple idea is exactly why steady consistency will always beat occasional flashes of brilliance. Effort is the real engine of achievement. So, how does this all connect back to leadership? Well, leaders today, they rarely fail because they aren't smart enough or don't have a vision. They fail because their grit falters. They give up too soon. They get distracted from the big picture. Or they just get overwhelmed and forget how tough they actually are. You've got to remember, a team doesn't follow a job title. They follow grit. All right, so we get it. Grit is critical. We know what it is and why it matters so much. So the big question is, how do we actually build it? Is this something you're just born with or not? Well, the great news is it's absolutely a muscle you can train. So here's a practical toolkit for doing just that. First, you have to define your deep purpose, your why.
That's your fuel. Next, you have to fall in love with consistency. Small daily habits are way more powerful than grand gestures. Third, stay curious, never stop learning. Your competence builds your confidence. Fourth, and this is a big one, you have to learn to see discomfort as a teacher. Yeah, growth can be painful, but that's where the transformation happens. 5, surround yourself with people who push you, who challenge you. And finally, all of this works to build that emotional endurance. Because leadership isn't a sprint, as we've seen, it's an ultramarathon.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important takeaway in all of this. It's a fundamental shift in how you look at every single challenge. This is the ultimate lesson the mountains teach us. The real victory isn't getting to the summit. The real victory is defeating that voice inside your own head, the voice of doubt, of pain, of excuses. When you conquer that internal version of yourself, you can lead any team through any storm. So, in the end, it's not about the mountain in front of you. It's always about the battle within you. And I'll leave you with this to think about. What part of yourself, what voice of doubt or desire to quit, will you choose to conquer today?